My wife, she says nothing in Chinatown have real traditional Vietnamese food. So that's why we started opening here, Cafe Hoang in Chinatown. Every time I feel like I cook, I eat, I liked it, so I should open the restaurant. Right now, total we have, I'm not remember, but I think it's about more than 150 main dishes. I love to cook, so I have to cook for customer eat, so they will be enjoy like I do. Vietnamese food, very unique style. You have to prepare everything fresh. My most happy, delightful for me, for the customer to enjoy my food, satisfied. Every time I cook myself, I eat, I enjoy it. So I want to be able to enjoy the same way I had.
So Dan, you say that Cafe Hoang makes everything all right. Tell us why you chose it.
It's just a nondescript little restaurant in Chinatown. It's different than everything else in Chinatown, being Vietnamese fare. The food is just unbelievably prepared. Great seasoning, great flavors, nothing off the wall, doesn't need to be. And you know, if you don't want to spend a lot of money and fill your belly with some delicious food, fresh, it's the place to be, no doubt.
Now, you have a great story about how you discovered it. Share it with us.
Well, I grew up in the Quad Cities in Rock Island, Illinois, and you know, I work with my dad who still lives there, so I'm in the Quad Cities a lot more than I care to be.
I don't think we have any viewers in the Quad City.
No, probably not.
At least not now.
But if you haven't noticed by now, I've got a pretty opinionated palate. And in the Quad Cities, there is one Vietnamese restaurant in the Quad Cities. The owner there is straight from the old school. Told him I'm from Chicago, and he's like, "Oh, do you eat much Vietnamese in Chicago?" I said, "Oh, I go to Argyle Street all the time." "Oh, no, I got a better place for you, a better place." So I told my wife and I about Cafe Hoang, and shortly after that, we were in the area, decided to give it a try, and we've been back ever since.
Okay. Well, Tom, we sent you down over to Chinatown, which is your first time to Chinatown. What did you think?
Embarrassed to say it was my first time, but a great experience. It's like opening up a whole new other avenue for me, just exploring their culture, cuisine. I definitely went in there maybe a little intimidated, not recognizing or feeling comfortable with the type of food.
Well, that's why they've got all the photos.
That was I was just going to say, that was my absolute favorite. I thought, they did this for me. 8.5 by 11 color photos of every entree.
And the number.
And the number.
Right.
So I got up and walked around. I said, okay. Told my wife I'm ordering number 86 and number 12. And the food was excellent. We opened up with the spring rolls and the egg rolls. The spring rolls I could have had a meal with that. They were excellent. So, not knowing, I ordered the beef pho. Is that correct?
Pho. I think it's pronounced pho.
Pho?
Everybody pronounces it different, but
okay.
I think it's pho.
I was struggling with that. So, not realizing that was a meal in itself.
Oh, 2 meals.
So I think the waiter was having a little fun with us. I also ordered the, you maybe help me with this, the pie beef.
I don't know which one that was.
Okay, so he kind of, would you like your soup before? Sure. So when it came, I could put my head in the bowl. The flavors were excellent.
I would agree. The food is fresh and fantastic. The service, well, it was cute, but then we had an interesting experience. It's Chinatown, yes, and definitely family oriented because right in the middle of our entree, the entire staff stopped to have dinner.
Yeah.
So
it's dinner time.
So it was dinner time, and so we were waiting for our tab or to possibly order dessert.
No, you can interrupt them. They don't mind being interrupted if you need something.
I didn't feel comfortable doing that.
I would be the same way. I would let them try to look over there.
But I kind of did
Hey,
give the
we
glance.
need something over here. Come on.
I gave the glance like, okay,
we're ready to go. What did you order?
Well, I had the grilled pork chop with the shrimp skewer, and it was so delicious and flavorful. You could tell it was marinated with, I don't know what spices they used, but it was incredibly good. And the price, $7.95 for a grilled pork chop.
I'd argue with you if I could.
That's,
so
there you go.
yeah,
That's big, Nicole. That's
yes,
big.
I understand your experience at my restaurant. Nonetheless, the pork chop at Cafe Hoang was
It is good.
phenomenal. I ordered for the appetizer the Vietnamese pancake and the crab rangoon, which was awesome. The crab
In
rangoon.
all of my years of rangooning, that is by far the best crab rangoon I've ever had.
I
Well,
would
that's what
agree
I'm
with you.
having.
All right,
And
what
I would
makes it
agree
so
with
good?
you.
You can't say rangooning and not tell us.
No, well, I think the difference is, most restaurants, when they serve a crab rangoon or anything that's deep fried like that, they'll come in the morning or the day before and roll up a ton of them, stick them in their little container and put them in the fridge. But at Cafe Hoang, if you order crab rangoon, they mix it all up right then and there. So it takes a few more minutes, but you get a nice big, cream cheese filled with the nice chunks of scallion in there, and it's fresh as can be.
What are some of your favorite dishes there?
My absolute favorite is number 26. Next time you're there, get number 26. It's one of the big vermicelli noodle bowls, where you get a big bowl that's about the same size as the pho, but it's just vermicelli noodles. They've got your bean sprouts, mint, and a chopped egg roll. And then they give you your little side of the Nuoc Cham Vietnamese dipping sauce, and you just dump it in and you mix it all together.
It's very customizable, the food.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, Tom, this was your first trip to Chinatown. What did you think of the neighborhood?
I thought it was fantastic. It was like a culture shock to us. We drove around a little bit, just kind of check it out, and I bet your eyeballs were half-dollar size. Just going, holy cow! I never knew this existed.
It was kind of, with Cafe Hoang and then also going to Joy Yi as a result of seeing it on Check Please, it brought me back to Chinatown. I hadn't been since I was a child, so now after seeing these new restaurants that have a new flavor, a new feel, it's just really kind of bringing a newness to Chinatown.
And there seems to be a bunch of restaurants there.
There is.
Yeah.
Well, Dan, you picked Cafe Hoang. Give us a summary.
If you're got a hankering for some delicious Vietnamese food, don't go to Argyle. Head to Chinatown. It is by far the most delicious bang for your buck Chicago has to offer.
All right. Tom?
I think if you want to check out Chinatown, some great Asian food, this is the place to go to.
All right. Nicole?
Fantastic food, great prices, quaint atmosphere, all that you need for a good night out.
All right. Well, you can try the pho for yourself at Cafe Hoang, 232 West Cermak, 312-674-9610. They're open for lunch and dinner every day except Tuesday. Reservations are accepted, alcoholic beverages are BYOB, and the average tab per person is $15.